Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. All right, so today we are jumping straight into a book that really forces you to look squarely at some of history's most evil figures.
It's definitely not a light read.
Not at all. It's this dark, but I think necessary, trip across 2 millennia, and it's all designed to understand one thing.
Yeah.
What happens when good people look away?
Exactly. Our mission for this deep dive is, well, it's structured like a really chaotic history lesson.
Yeah.
The author intentionally jumps around in time.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's not chronological at all.
Nope. It starts with a very recent event, and then vaults back nearly 2,000 years, and then sort of works its way forward. We're tracking the methods, the calculation, the pure whim, the cold indifference that defines this kind of wickedness.
It's an incredible inventory of cruelty. I mean, from ancient Rome right up to modern-day drug cartels. So let's just get into it. Where do we start?
We start very, very recently, October 7th, 2023 at 7:11 a.m. The location is Kibbutz Be'eri in Israel.
And that location is significant. It was founded by Holocaust survivors and Jews from Iraq.
Which just makes what happened next even more horrific. The key figure is a Hamas commander, Abed al-Rahman, part of the Al-Qassam Brigade, which, the book notes, was specifically trained to murder civilians.
And the planning was chillingly modern. The source details how Rahman actually suggested his gunmen take Captagon.
Right, a powerful amphetamine or even cocaine before the attack.
So he's not just motivating them, he's chemically altering them for maximum brutality.
Absolutely. It's about disabling conscience. And by 9 a.m., they had control. The book is unflinching. Homes set on fire, women gang raped before being shot, looting. Rahman was apparently pleased with what he called his victory, a victory that cost 1,200 lives.
But it was a short-lived victory for him personally.
Very short-lived. 17 days later, he was killed in Gaza by an Israeli rocket.
And from that very modern, very calculated act, the book just throws us back in time.
It really does. It's a huge leap. We're going back almost 2,000 years to the poster child for arbitrary personal cruelty, the Roman Emperor Caligula.
Right, Gaius Caesar Augustus Germanicus. He's only 26 when he takes power, but his backstory is just, it's a horror show.
Oh, completely. His father was poisoned. His mother starved to death in prison. 2 of his brothers executed. And then there were the constant whispers about him and his sister, Drusilla.
Incest, which the sources seem to pretty much confirm.
And yet, his first few months in power were seen as a golden age. He cut taxes, abolished the death penalty for treason. People loved him.
So what happened? What was the turning point?
A severe fever. He nearly died in AD 37, and he was absolutely convinced it was an assassination attempt. After that, the switch just flipped.
From golden boy to, well, a monster.
Instantly. He executes his closest advisors, his doctors, then he exiles his own sisters for, and this is a quote, crimes against Rome as well as sexual relationships with animals.
With animals, I mean.
It became performative. The cruelty was the point. The book has this chilling anecdote about his dinner parties.
Oh, I remember this.
He'd have prisoners sawed in half while he ate, describe their screams as a great appetizer.
It's pure ego, just weaponized. And nothing screams ego more than his military campaign.
Ah, yes. The war on the sea.
He marches 10,000 soldiers all the way to the British Channel, and instead of invading Britain, he orders them to, what? Attack the water?
To attack the sea. They literally hurled spears into the waves and then collected seashells as trophies of war. Declared a victory over Neptune, the god of the sea.
You can't make this stuff up.
You really can't. But that kind of madness doesn't last. He was assassinated on his 28th birthday, stabbed 30 times. The signal for the attack was simply strike again.
A brutal end for a brutal ruler. Okay, so now we shift from the madness of one man to something more logistical, industrial even.
A huge jump forward. We're the 12th century with Genghis Khan, born Temujin.
And there was an omen right at his birth, wasn't there?
A very ominous one. He was born clutching a blood clot the size of a chicken's egg. His life was violent from the start. After his father was poisoned, he had to kill his own brother with a rock for hoarding food.
And that personal brutality just scaled up massively.
Into an engine of conquest. And it was often purely economic. Look at the destruction of Merv in 1221. It was a huge trading hub. Khan wanted to destroy their network and replace it with his own.
And the slaughter was terrifyingly bureaucratic.
That's a perfect word for it. Every single Mongolian warrior was ordered to personally kill 300 people.
300 each.
Each. And if you failed, you were executed. The governor was wrapped in a carpet and trampled to death by horses. We're talking about an estimated 700,000 corpses in one city.
The numbers are just staggering. He killed something like 50 million people, right?
At least. And get this, the death toll was so immense, it actually cooled the planet.
Wait, what? How does that even work?
It's a bizarre consequence. When you kill that many people, huge areas of farmland are abandoned. Forests grow back, and all those new trees suck carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. He literally changed the climate through genocide.
I can't even wrap my head around that. Wow. Okay, so from global conquest, we jump to the 16th century, King Henry VIII. The evil here feels more self-indulgent.
It's all about personal desire. Henry needs a male heir. The Pope won't grant him a divorce from Catherine of Aragon, so what does he do?
He just invents his own church, the Church of England, throws all of Europe into religious chaos.
Just for his own convenience.
Yeah.
And the source really focuses on Anne Boleyn's fate. She's tried on trumped-up charges by a court he controls.
But her last act was one of defiance, right? The red dress.
The crimson dress, the Catholic symbol of martyrdom. It was her way of screaming her innocence, then her body was just tossed into an unmarked grave.
And the book paints this picture of Henry himself at this time. He's what, 350 pounds?
At least. Covered in diabetic ulcers, eating more in a day than the average person ate in a week. Just a gluttonous, violent man, soothed only by alcohol.
Which leads to the ultimate story of conscience versus power, Sir Thomas More.
A great statesman, arrested for treason simply because he refused an invitation to Anne's coronation.
And his final words are so powerful. I will die the king's good servant, but I'm God's first.
A powerful statement. Which brings us to the 19th century and a uniquely American evil, the domestic slave trade.
By the 1820s, it's the most profitable business in the country, centered in New Orleans.
We're talking cold, hard numbers.
Yeah.
Men like Isaac Franklin and John Armfield sold around 100,000 people. One ship, the United States, brought them $500,000 on a single trip. This is about $15 million today.
And the details of that transport are just sickening.
50-pound iron chains. People shackled in the ship's hull, sitting in a mix of salt water, blood, sweat, and human waste. A third of them died within 6 months. Nobody lived past 30.
And this whole system was protected by law.
Absolutely. John Quincy Adams tried to fight it, but the Southern Coalition passed the gag rule to ban any discussion of emancipation in Congress.
And the leader of that movement was John C. Calhoun,
who personified the link between political power and personal cruelty. The book details how he would publicly flog his own slaves, sometimes even chopping off a foot with an axe to prevent escape.
That's a level of evil that's hard to comprehend. And it leads us right into the Civil War.
And Nathan Bedford Forrest, a wealthy slave trader who became a Confederate general.
He's infamous for the Fort Pillow Massacre in 1864.
His men overran an integrated Union fort and just refused to accept any surrender. They shot soldiers on sight, stomped them, used slave tracking dogs on them. Forrest was labeled a war criminal, and he tried to burn the fort to hide the evidence.
And his legacy didn't end there. After the war,
he becomes the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Its stated goal, to uphold the God-given supremacy of the white race. Pure terror.
Okay, so now the book shifts gears again. We're in the early 20th century, and the evil becomes financial. The robber barons.
Exactly. This isn't zealotry. It's pure, cold, capitalist exploitation. J.P. Morgan, John D. Rockefeller.
And Rockefeller. The detail about him manipulating oil prices is just so chilling.
It is. Deliberately raising prices in the dead of winter, knowing that hundreds of thousands of people, many of them children, would literally freeze, all to increase his profits.
And the damage was measurable, right? The average lifespan actually dropped.
By 2 full years. Their greed was so destructive, it literally shortened people's lives.
And President Teddy Roosevelt was understandably enraged.
He was. He sued Morgan's company, and Morgan's response was just peak arrogance. He said, if we've done anything wrong, send your man to meet my man. They can fix it up.
Unbelievable.
But the Attorney General's response was perfect. We don't want to fix it up. We want to stop it.
A great line. And that sets the stage for the century's great totalitarian monsters, starting with Joseph Stalin.
The Man of Steel. His childhood was brutal, beaten by his father, and that paranoia just defined him. There's a bizarre story about him escaping Siberian exile.
Right. Disguised as Miss Petrovskaya. In women's clothing.
It's hard to picture, but it's true. But his ruthlessness was no joke. During the Battle of Stalingrad in 1942,
Order number 227.
Not one step back. If you were a Russian soldier and you retreated, you were shot. By your own side. Stalin murdered, what, 12 to 15 million people before World War II even began?
And you can't talk about Stalin without talking about Hitler.
Of course. The book points out his violence started with his own people, the Night of the Long Knives in 1934, purging his own SA commanders.
Where one of them, Ernst Röhm, says, "If I am to be killed, let Adolf do it himself."
That internal cleansing quickly turned into external genocide. The Wannsee Conference in 1942 made it official. They changed the policy from emigration to evacuation.
Chilling code for the final solution. And at Auschwitz, something like 95% of people were killed the moment they arrived.
It's the definition of a death factory. And yet, if you just look at the raw numbers, the book makes a shocking claim. The worst mass killer in history isn't Hitler or Stalin.
It's Mao Zedong.
It's Mao. An estimated 80 million people died because of his bizarre economic theories and his sheer brutality.
80 million, that number just, it doesn't feel real. And yet, his cult of personality persists. His Little Red Book is the most printed book ever.
Pop culture figures like John Lennon praised him. It shows this incredible disconnect between ideology and the horrific reality.
And that kind of zealotry brings us to Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran in 1979.
Right. He returns from exile and immediately defines his role by humiliating the West.
The hostage crisis. He releases the 52 American hostages at the exact moment Ronald Reagan is taking the oath of office.
A final, calculated insult to President Carter, and inside Iran, dissent was crushed. But the story of the former education minister, Farrokhroo Parsa.
That one really stood out. She refused to wear the veil and was executed for it. Left a note saying, "I am not prepared to step back in history."
An incredible act of defiance. And that defiance against tyranny brings us to the modern era, to Vladimir Putin.
Who connects the old KGB terror with modern politics. His origin story in Dresden in 1989 is so telling.
Facing down a mob, alone with a pistol, and he calls Moscow for orders, only to be told, Moscow is silent.
That must have taught him a lesson.
Self-reliance and ruthlessness, he seized power and systematically silenced anyone who opposed him, like the poisoning of Alexander Litvinenko in London in 2006.
With polonium-210, I remember Litvinenko's final message warning Putin the howl of protest would follow him forever.
And Putin's response was just ice cold. Mr. Litvinenko is not Lazarus and cannot rise from the dead.
Chilling. And that pattern continues to this day.
Which brings us to the book's final chapter, the unabated, hyper-capitalist evil of the drug cartels.
They've basically innovated suffering for profit. Sinaloa, El Chapo. They're not just selling drugs, they're pushing fentanyl.
100 times stronger than heroin. It's cheap to make in a lab and sold for $10 a dose. Yeah. It's a business model built on addiction and death.
Generating $600 billion a year. The story of Francine Dorman, the addict in Detroit who died, leaving behind a 4-year-old daughter. It's just tragic.
It puts a human face on those staggering numbers.
So after this whole terrifying journey, what's the common thread? From Caligula to the cartels, what connects them all?
The book boils it down to 3 things: money, power, and zealotry. Those are the drivers.
Yet the real insight, the takeaway, is about the rest of us, isn't it?
It is. John Stuart Mill said it best. Bad men need nothing more to compass their ends than that good man should look on and do nothing.
And history proves him right again and again. Entire societies, Rome, Russia, China, they all surrendered to evil, in part by just choosing to look away.
And that leaves us and you with the big provocative question the book wants us to ask. We see all these historical consequences. What is happening right now in our world today that we are all collectively choosing to ignore?
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.